Hey, it's King Kaiju here, and a rumor has just spilled over regarding the Marvels movie, the least anticipated Marvel cinematic movie of next year, The Marvels. And this rumor may have made it less appealing. All right, I got to be fair and start this off and say it might be personal preference, but hear me out. So, the wonderful people at Bounding into Comics have this great article that there is a rumor the Marvels film to see Carol Danvers married to alien prince of a musical planet whose people speak in song. Now, this, I will tell you right off the bat, is a personal pet peeve. Not a fan of musicals. Not at all. Don't get me wrong. I've seen musicals. Obviously, like Singing in the Rain. Great film. I will get into fights with people over to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's not a musical in my book. It's something entirely different. But I, especially in most films, I don't. It's a personal preference. Just don't like them. Just don't enjoy them. Rips me out of the willing suspension of disbelief that people suddenly break into song to explain plot points. Nonetheless, the article goes on, and this is mildly interesting as to sort of the back behind this, because it's really disturbing. All right. So basically, in a nutshell, they're basically showcasing this all came about. There was a 2022 Disney content showcase in Singapore. Okay. And the company previewed their Asian Pacific content offerings, and they announced there that, and yes, I'll butcher this, so skip it. A Korean actor named Park Seon-joon, Seo-Joon, as I said, I would butcher it, who did have a bit part in the absolutely stunning, amazing, and deservedly Academy Award-winning film Parasite, which if you have not seen yet, you must go see. I don't care. It's not superhero, but it's amazing. Anyways, that he would be joining the cast of, the Captain Marvel sequel, The Marvel. So then, the head scratching begins. What's he going to do? What's he going to play? Blah, blah, blah. And then, basically, the Cosmic Marvel Twitter feed dropped it. And they said Park Seon-joon is playing a character called Prince Yan, a leader of a musical planet where everyone has to sing to communicate. Okay. So it's pretty much official. I don't know why they're saying it's a rumor, except for the fact that this was back then and it could have been changed and altered and everything else. Doing a bit of a deeper dive, it's mildly amusing that there is a Yan character in the actual Captain Marvel comic books. Occasionally they'll still reference comic material. And he showed up in one volume, a couple issues, and the whole arranged marriage plot, and he wanted to be with Carol, and she was hot, but she couldn't do it because she's an Avenger. Oh, but she had some wacko sidekick. The sidekick was like, I'll marry him. It's cool. You could read all about it. It's not really kind of tantamount to what we're going to be kind of talking about here. Yes, if I did not ask you, please, please, please subscribe to the channel, click the notification icon, and like the video. It really, really helps. Now, here we go. So, my problem with musicals and with, having this sort of small... It's not going to be a musical. Okay, and I got to correct myself real quick. The Marvels is not going to be a musical. Don't get me wrong. What they're going to do is have this sort of musical interlude, And generally speaking, right, and I said that the willing suspension of disbelief was ruined for me when people suddenly broke out into song to explain a plot point. Now, credit where it's due. In the Marvels, if he is the king of a planet who communicate through song, that provides an in-canon reason that this is occurring. So that ruins my objection. And I'll give them credit for that. That's probably why they did it in the comic book. However, and this is a tough one because I accept that not everyone does this, But it doesn't make any sense that a society would be able to grow and flourish by communicating via song. You know, if you're trying to how do you have a conversation? You have to use the same tone, pitch. You have to have the same structure. I mean, it's a mess. And I understand that not many people think about that. However, the real issue here is what we continue to to cover on this and many, many other channels. It's Disney's continual dive into attempting to appease and accommodate, groups, as opposed to just writing the best story possible that's the most, quote, believable within the canon of the universe you've set up. I mean, we've got a lot of Captain Marvel material to pick from. And the fact that they picked an individual that was in, a couple issues from a single volume really says something that was picked for a specific reason. They want to have the musicals. They want to appeal to, people that like musicals. And the casting and in the comic book, yet again, they show Jan. It's in the article. Very clearly, ethno-European white male being replaced by, Korean actor in order to appeal to maybe the K-pop crowd, I guess. And it's mentioned in the article that there's an attempt driven apparently to draw in a younger audience. Now, of course, everyone will say, well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that is, what we've brought up a million times before, especially when you're dealing with $200 million movies, which Captain Marvel apparently will be, your goal is to appeal to the broadest and widest audience. Okay? If you're a K-pop fan, or you're a musical fan, or a young person, you still went and saw Avengers Infinity War. It didn't make $2 billion by itself, or appealing to a specific audience. Okay? When you do appeal to a specific audience, you effectively, not necessarily lock out or block out, but you tend to disappoint the other and oftentimes larger audience. Case in point, She-Hulk. But nonetheless, I said before, this was already not an anticipated film for me, certainly. And this has made it less appealing. The time hasn't come yet, but it is quickly approaching that there will be a Marvel cinematic movie in the theaters that I won't see. And I believe Marvel's will be the first.